So today I'm walking down the back streets of Morecambe, Lancashire, to a very special place in my childhood. And as a kid I used to walk down these streets with my mum and dad and look all up the back alleys and the houses, because this is the true Morecambe. And I'm Thomas Edwards, and welcome to my channel. Welcome to Happy Mount Park, come with me. So welcome to Happy Mount Park. It's a bit of a local landmark to Morecambe, and it's a bit of a forgotten landmark because it's not. I don't think it's as busy as it was in its heyday. It's sort of lost its buzz, I think. But it's still busy. There's still a lot of people because of current climate. I think everyone's coming and using it a lot more. So there's a few people sat around, and there's quite a few people walking around. But Happy Mount Park, if you didn't know, it's a park on the as you just come into Morecambe. If you're coming from like Hess Bank and you drive in, you come past the golf club what's over there, and then you come to Happy Mount Park. And Happy Mount Park was opened in 1927 by the former councillor Henry Wood, and he I think Henry I think he named it the Happy Bit because this was a big field, and I think he called it after the wildlife. It was just a very happy place and very peaceful, and the sea was over there, and it was just very nice. And then it was turned into the park. So yeah, it was opened up 3rd of June 1927, and when it opened its doors, this area what we're stood on right here, it's a garden now with lots of beds in it, was a 1,500 seat open air bandstand, and I'll put a picture in so I'd just like to point out here that I've slightly got it wrong when I was there on shoot. So where I'm stood in the gardens is actually, has always been the gardens, and the bandstand was where the cafe and Crazy Golf is today. The series of little photos I'm going to show you here, you can see the gardens with the white posts with vases on top, flowers in. And in the background is the bandstand. And if you look at the right wall, like a building at the right side of the picture, I think that wall is actually still there today on the back of the Crazy Golf. So I'd just like to say I got it wrong there. So if you're going to comment and say, "Oh no, you've got that wrong. It's over at the calf," I'm just clearing things up, and I know I was wrong, but that's the bandstand. So you can see, and it was quite grand. It looked really smart, and the last time I saw one that was similar was in Scarborough on the east coast. In fact, they have a very similar bandstand, but no. And later on, let's go down a few years later on, here in these beds is where they had Illuminations, where they'd have Postman Pat and Scooby-Doo all on big signs all lit up along here, and as you'd walk through. But we'll talk about more of that later on. But yeah, so this is as you walk in, you come to these gardens here. But we'll walk down and I'll show you what else there is. So we're at the top of the tier now, we're at the highest bit. So if you look behind you now, you can look right down sort of the grand steps and of all the flower beds. And you can see the main walkway as you're coming from the gate, like a road. That's your main walkway. So I've come and sat up here because there's quite a few people around today. It's a lot busier than the other day when we were here. But as you can see here, you've just frames there. It's got swing boats there with a little paint shed behind it, and then the playground's next to it, and they've been there quite a long time. I think they've always sort of been a permanent feature. And in here, on this grass here, was pitch and putt. And as I used to come here as a kid on the holidays with my mum and dad, and we'd come down from the Lake District, and all on this grass here was pitch and putt. Probably, I think it was an 18-hole pitch and putt. And I can remember getting very frustrated and chucking the golf club up the course because I couldn't get it right, because probably my dad got a hole in one and I was probably really annoyed, or my mum got a hole in one, so I chucked. And I can sort of remember these because it's got like, it's very lumpy sort of ground, and I remember here it had a hole and you ran it up this bank here into a hole. It was really good. I remember me and my dad came a couple of years ago to play pitch and putt, and then forgot that they've took it up and they've only got crazy golf, so we had to go and play crazy golf. But as you probably see a bit better from over here. We'll show you close. We'll walk up, as you can see, look, the main calf. You probably see the pirate ship on the crazy golf over there, and a trampoline. But we'll show you in a minute a bit more. But if you pan to your left, there's an old sort of 1920s sitting sort of like what do you call them? Like a veranda sort of shelter, but they have a nice sort of name to them, pagoda. We'll cut that bit out. It's just a shelter. It's just a very sort of 1920s, 30s shelter. What you can sit in when it's raining or cold. I'd say it's freezing today. But go on, let's go up here. Let's go and show you the most exciting bit. Come on. So this bit here is a bowling green, and you can pay green fees, quite a bit of money. It's like 200 quid. And here you got your I think when you do bowling, you do your scoring, and earn all your guys in nice blazers, and where you clean your balls, I think happens in there, and you score it. But you can come here and pay your money and play a few balls, you know. I quite fancy playing a few balls. I've got a good aim, I think. And then you can watch it in that shelter over there. But obviously, current times, and it's winter. We're in 2nd of December now. The greens are not perfect summer conditions, so they need a bit of cutting and a bit of work on them. But I think someone's put brand new sand down the edge. I think they're getting ready. And look, there's some doggies being in there. So as we come up here, oh, they've even got some brand new LED lights up there. Wow, yeah, it's proper setup, real deal. So you can come down and play bowls in the night time. So no, they've got it set up. So if we come down here, we're walking around the back of the bowling green now. We come up to this woodland area, and as you can see here, there's a little box in there, and that little box there would have been when we had the Illuminations. That would have been a power source for one of the lights or whatever they had around here. There's quite a few of them dotted out around the park. You see them and they sort of blend in because they've all overgrown now. But yeah, that's one of the power boxes what probably ran lights up in the trees or on these walkways as we're walking on today. But we'll go over there and show you something really exciting, what quite floats my boat really. So just walk around the corner here, and this is the exciting bit I was telling you about. Is they've got a 10.25 inch, that's inch, not feet, not any inch, 12.25 inch narrow gauge railway. And as you can see here, there's a bit of an anorak sort of knowledge. You see this third, it's got 3 rails on it, and some narrow gauge railways have a third rail because they've got 2 different gauges. But this, I think, because it's such a tight radius, it stops them coming off in the corner, because they stop up there and it's sort of on the corners where the third rail comes in. So this railway, I'll show you around the front where the proper station is, where people will know it from years ago, is when it opened in 1956, they had 2 steam outlined engines, what are all petrol engine. They probably had little Veliuses on, you know, little like engines. and then they got scrapped and he built a diesel engine, a little hydraulic diesel engine. I think it's still the same one today. If you look on old videos, I'll show you. I'll put a link. I'm going to put a few links underneath this video of old videos, or ask them if I can use them in my vid, but we'll probably put them underneath. If you look at the engine when he replaced it with the diesel engine, it was painted up in intercity colours. It was like a 125, but now it's painted up in different colours, but it looks like the same engine to me, and I think it is. And up there that's the tunnel / shed, so that's where they lock it away in there, but also you run round because it's only one loop. I think it's 200 yards of a loop. And in the middle here is a playground now, with wooden castles. But in the middle of there, they used to have, I think they always had a bit of a sitting out area, so you could always sit in the middle. But like they see the wall perimeter, when the railway opened, they had a concrete road with a track in the middle with like pedal cars, but styled in like 1950s cars, and a bike, and it used to go around on a track. So as the railway go around, your kids could go on the cars and the bikes and in the middle. And then, so I am going to put lots of links underneath. One of the links will you'll be able to see the inner track with the cars and the bikes. A bit like a fairground really, it gets pulled round on like a dolly. But this photo what I've shown before, but I'm going to show it again because you can see what that track looks like next to the 125 intercity style train. Is a concrete road with a metal track on the middle that would have pulled the cars around. And as you can see behind the fence is the play and sit out area. It's always had sort of that theme going all the way through. It's quite interesting to look on that photo of it next to the engine. There's like a little porter cabin. Now it's just a wooden shed. So that's a proper nice little feature what's gone now. Middle. And then later on, we'll go into in a bit, Blobby Land was in the middle of this, a couple of the buildings was in the middle, also it was up there as well, but we'll go into that in a minute when I get up there. So yeah, this has always been used as quite a creative area, done quite a lot on this land here, but now it's just another play park. Well, obviously it's too cold for that, it's freezing today. But as we walk down the back here, I think this has always sort of been a walkway around the back of here, and I think it's when they had Illuminations, I think they lit up round here. Because all the park, let's go into Illuminations. So the Illuminations was, I think it started in Morecambe, it started in 1919, what was before the park was built, and it went all the way up to 1996. But let me just go off sidetrack. See the rails going into the shed? It looks like an old Nissan hut, doesn't it? With its curved roof and its solid breeze block sides. It's quite good actually. It's actually make a good car garage actually. But talking about the Illumination, 1919 to 1996 Illuminations, and it went round all the way around Morecambe, all the way along the prom, around town, and the gardens that used to be up at the top near West End, or near Midland Hotel should I say. There's gardens that were also lit up. But then when the park was open, they went into the park here, so you'd come, oh let me just slew to that magpie there, bad luck if I don't do that. So this is, just to go off sidetrack again, this is the other end, and he's got his lock on this side, but it's got enough room. I think it's got a siding inside. I think he stores his carriages in the siding, and then he can run through in the day. But it's actually got room. You could put two lines in this bit. You can make a really nice layout. You know, two lines, a couple like points. So you could cross over to each line. You could have two engines running around, or you could put another gauge in. I don't think you could quite get 15 inch. You maybe get away with 12. But But I don't know, I think the radius is too narrow to get anything that big. That's why it's 10¼ inch. But it's, you know, it's quite an historic little railway, this. You wouldn't think it's 1956 that it was built. So yeah, so I think it's quite a tight loop, this, to put anything bigger. But we'll get back to Illumination in a minute. We're distracted, too much railway stuff. Anyway, so Illuminations, so when the park opened, the Illumination was in full swing, so they brought it into the park, so you could come here, pay a bit at the gate, a bit of dosh at the gate, and a little paying bit, and you come in and it'd be all lit up like a big wonderland, you know, wonderful lights everywhere. And I'll drop a few pictures in of what it looked like, maybe video footage if I'm allowed to use it, or put links underneath. So you'd walk around, it'd all be lit up and the train would be going, it'd be wonderful, you know, and it's all gone now. I'll go on to that in a minute, why it's all gone. So I was just joking, then we'll go on to that in a minute, why it doesn't exist, the Illuminations in the whole, well, in the town we do still have lights, but it's not the same as it used to be. It used to be like a Blackpool, it used to be like the most northerly Blackpool before you got to Cumbria. And there still is Illuminations in Blackpool, obviously, and there's Matlock Bath, they have Illuminations as well. But Morecambe is lost it all, and the culprit is what's stood on this about 20 years ago. On this land here, late 90s, was Crinkle Bottom, Mr. Blobby, you know, land with Noel Edmonds. And so there's an advert somewhere where he's going around in his pink Suzuki on here, and it had Blobbyland houses on here and in the middle of the railway. And for the people watching this, you probably already know, if you're local, you know the history. But if you don't know the history, pretty much no Edmonds went, oh, I want to do loads of theme parks for Blobby. And I think he had like a permanent park. He had a couple of permanent parks, but he put it on here as it was either a temporary or if it weren't successful, they'd keep it forever. So the council had to fork out quite a lot of money. I think it was nearly £1 million to put this land on here with all these houses and all these attractions. And I think at the time the people who were in charge, someone in the council said, this is not a good idea, you're going to really get shafted for this. And yeah, they did get shafted because they put it in, and as soon as they put it in, it was reported as not very good, and the kids didn't like it, and it wasn't what it should have been. And a few years down the line, I think maybe it went in 94, 95 it was in, maybe 93, a bit earlier than that. But you got towards the end of the 90s and nowhere probably went, well, it's not working this, I've got to get some money back. So he asked the council for his money back, and they had to, because they had a contract, I think they had to probably give the money back. And once they'd given the money back, all the funds went for all the Illuminations, and all the wonderful things we had in Morecambe is gone. And that's why we don't have Illumination, because they bankrupted him with Noel Edmonds wanting his cash. So there you go, that cash went back into his big house and his Rolls Royce, and we've lost the Illuminations. So, you know, celebrities, eh? Dear me. So, well, I remember, I was just telling you about Noel Edmonds wanting his money back. I think he successfully sued them because he believed that they weren't promoting it enough, and it wasn't, you know, it should have been everywhere. There should have been posters and adverts and everything everywhere. And I think there was, I think they did advertise it, but I just don't think it was right for the park and the area. I don't think it had the same appeal. So he sued them and got his money back and bankrupted them, you know, and then we've lost it, and on today it's just a smoking shed. Well, you know, things happen, time goes on, but it shouldn't have happened really. It probably, if it didn't happen, we would have still had quite a good community of a good park, you know, but, you know. So we're walking up here now. We're walking up, see these posts here. We'll walk up here actually, come with me, we'll do the woodland walk. So we're in the woodland walk up here, and I'm not 100% so do correct me if I am wrong, But up here in this woodland walk, I think the zoo was up here. I think they had a petting zoo, where you could go and pet animals, and I think that was in here. They've turned it into a woodland area now, but I think the zoo was up here, and at the back they're doing work on it again. They put a playground, like an outdoor adventure playground up there, but they're doing something else with it now. It's all cornered off, and behind over there is a doggy field where you can go and run your dogs. But as I was saying, I think the zoo was in this area here. It's a bit of a woodland wildlife bit, because there's a bit of a pond up here. And some of you saying, oh no, that's a Japanese garden. No, that's Japanese garden's further down there. This is, I think, where the zoo was. So here, if you come here, you've got a bit of a pond here. We've probably got frogs in it, you know, in the spring, frog spawn or whatever. You can hear the wood pigeon in the background there. And just looking over there, they've got a bug station. They're really good there. You know, where you put your twigs and bits of cardboard and all the little bugs go and live in it. I always fancied building one of them out with some pallets. I think that one's built out of pallets. I think I can see from here it looks like 2 pallets and with a felt roof put on it. So this park is, they're getting there with stuff. They're still doing stuff in it. Council still lock it up at night, and they mow the lawns and keep it nice. And see, these paths are nice and clear. There's no leaves on these paths. They're keeping it nice and tidy. But it's just like anything, the money's gone, and so they can't really keep on top of it. It's like another park what's gone into a bit of a state is Stanley Park in Blackpool. That was a big grand park, and Thomas Mawson, the famous garden designer and building of 1800s Lake District, he designed the gardens in Stanley Park in Blackpool, and it's a big grand park, and it is part of the golf club as well. That is going into a bit of a decline. But anyway, we'll come round here. I can show you a closer look at the bug station. So I was right. It's made out of pallets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, lots of pallets. It's got little pallets at the top, and all the twigs. Wonder what's living in there, hibernating for the winter. Looks quite warm actually. So yeah, that's a bug station. So come on with me, I will go up here actually. I was going to walk from there, but come up here. So I was just saying before that they had a doggy running area, where could run the dogs, but obviously they didn't have this in years ago. This was all the zoo and the other bit up here, but he turned it into this. They're doing a bit of landscaping on it as we speak today. Oh, it's a plane somewhere. Wow, 2 planes. So I think in here, but it's gone, or was it in there? I think in here, I remember a few years ago, I think they had swings over there. Or last night was over there. I know they have a zip wire bit in there, but I think they had big swings in here. Where that clump of earth was, I think they had swings. But anyway, if you got your doggy in Morecambe, you can come and run him in here. Off the leash. But this park's still got a lot going for it, a lot set up for it, you know. Because I was thinking in London, there's people who dream of a park like this. You know, you're in a little flat in London. And there is parks in London, but if you live in the really urban bits where the parks are not the best of places to go, they'd be dreaming of going to just a very quiet and peaceful park like this. You know, bring your kids, your dog, or just sit and read a book. But you know, if we all pull together, we might get it back to where it was. I think they're redoing it up. They're digging all the foundations out of this zip wire here. They've dug all the earth out of it. They're either relaying earth in it, or putting that spongy putting that spongy stuff so when you fall, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't hurt you. Like spongy tarmac. Down there, I think they've put new sand in at the bottom. Quite a good area, this. I'm sure when it's open, I think it's quite busy probably in summer. Kids in it. So yeah, they've got a bit of money and they're redoing it. So that's good. It's nice to see them getting work done. You know, it's something's happening. Anyway. So down here you can see the old 1920s, 30s style sort of lamp posts. There's what, 1, 2, 3, quite a lot actually. All still here, but they're missing the tops on them now. They would have had big globes on top of them, and you would have had like bunting, stringing from each, you know, from each post, all lit up for the illumination. So you walk here like a magical wonderland, you know, and it'd be a bit like if you're local and you go to Cumbria a bit. If you know Muncaster on near Ravenglass on the west coast of Cumbria, they have sort of this time of year, Halloween, sort of winter time, they light up all the trees in the gardens. And it's very similar. If you look at footage from, or if you've been here and you know, you'll see that it's all very like Muncaster really. That's the only thing I can sort of put it toward, you know, what I can relate it to, because I never saw it with Illuminations. When it finished, I wasn't even born. But I do remember coming here as a kid, and I do remember what we're going to get onto, the old paddling pool. I do remember it before it got converted. But my mum and dad and my dad's mum and dad were all Morecambe and Lancaster. I bet they came here a lot as a kid and walked through here. So there's a lot of family history going on in this park. So that over there is the splash park, but 10 years ago it wasn't there. It used to be, maybe a bit longer now, I'm going back to when I was a kid. In there was a 6-inch deep paddling pool, proper paddling pool, and I think it had a fountain in the middle of it. I can't quite remember, but I remember coming here on holiday with mum and dad, and then having my little boat and paddle in there. And I think my dad used to love it because he used to come as a kid, so we used to both paddle in there. But as health and safety comes in, as you know, as the years go on, they go, oh, you can't have paddling pools anymore, it's dangerous. So they put splash parks in where they have fountains and they have soft tarmac, so if you fall, it's all very nice, and you know, the health and safety man's happy. Oh, doggies. So yeah, this is a splash park. It's looking a bit overgrown at the moment, but it's winter, you know, you're not gonna, it's too cold for splash parks, so they shut it off in the winter. But when the summer comes back round and we get nice hot weather, what you get in Morecambe occasionally, you know, when it's not raining, then you can come in here at Splash Park, and the changing rooms there, and there's always been changing rooms there. And through at the back, I'll show you when we go around the other side, is the tennis court. And this layout here with the paddling pool and the tennis court, it's always been in the same location. Like the railway, it's always been in the same location. Not a lot's moved in this park. It's always been, you know where everything is, because it's been here a long time. And there's all these old lamps, as you saw then, it was nice. That's still got its head on it, that one hasn't. Those lamps, lovely lamps. Now you'd expect them to find them on an old railway station. Something like Severn Valley now still do on their stations, they still have nice lamps like that, and a lot of preserved railways. And as you can see down here, if you pan to your left, there's one of those electrical boxes again, what I presume are from the Illuminations to power all the lights. So yeah, there's a Pingu over there, or whatever he's called, whatever he makes, that penguin, I can't remember what he makes, that noise. But yeah, that's a splash park, what used to be a paddling pool. What was a nice paddling pool, really nice paddling pool. It's like another place, not Bakewell in Derbyshire. they had a nice paddling pool. Like, it was only small, but it was a nice paddling pool, and there again, it lasted quite a long time, but then, oh, you've got to put a splash park in because someone might drown. Yeah, okay. You know, there's no fun anymore. You can't have a paddling pool, what can you have? So we're in the Japanese garden here, and there's one of the ponds you're just looking at then, and there's some bamboo, look. You expect pandas to be living in that, all that bamboo. So yeah, Japanese garden. So Japanese gardens in the 20s, 30s, 40s, they're still quite popular in quite a lot of towns and villages. You know, there's always a Japanese garden. And they were saying before, Thomas Mawson, who did quite a lot of gardens, Lake District did Japanese garden. He didn't do this one, but he was known for doing these really nice Japanese gardens. There's a famous one up Eskdale on the west coast. But this was all lit up in Illuminations, and there's all different ponds. And I'll show you around there in a minute. There's a few more ponds, but up there there's an old lamp that would have 4 globes on, and that'd be all lit up. But it's all gone now. Look, it's just a post painted in white and green. So it needs it'd be nice if we could put globes on there again and just light it up, so it's just a bit nicer in the evening. But they do close it up, so people don't come in that much in the dark anyway, but it'd be nice if we had a bit of light in it. Just make it a bit more homely. There's some nice texture on that lamp there. It's very, very old and nice. Whoa, look at that scroll. He moved fast then. He's a big fella, isn't he? I've noticed in Happy Mount Park the squirrels are big squirrels. I think they're well fed. And they're very friendly as well, that obviously means they are well fed. They seem to be a bit camera shy though, so they haven't got the show and biz streak in them yet. But time will tell, we'll get them on camera. Wow, he's a handsome beast, isn't he? Oh, look at that. He'll put those nuts in his pouch, ready for winter. So when we're eating Christmas dinner, he'll get them out of his pouch and have them. I bet you all this Japanese garden here was quite grand when it was opened, with all the different ponds, and I think it had a bridge. I think it had a little bridge what went over, and I think, yeah, we stood in what supposedly is the Japanese gardens. Here's a pond you're looking at. I think on the back it's got a frog on the back of it, on a little statue. I think it's called Duck Island. I think there's ducks in one of these, and I think that's Duck Island. So these gates we stood at here were part of where you'd walk across the Blobby land. Crinkle Bottom, I think it was called, and when it all shut up and it all went completely wrong, there was big close signs over these gates, so you couldn't go across. But here behind it is the railway, it's a bit of a crossing to the railway, but as you can see, a bit of a crossing for the railway there, so you can drive your lawnmower over it. But if you come down here, you come to the bit where everyone knows down here, and this is the station for the railway. I think it's called the Happy Mount Express. I think that's what its name is, the Happy Mount Express. So this is the station here, and I think it's always had the same railings on it. It's always been the same station. But early on it was outlines of steam engines, and now it's like a mock of a diesel engine. So as you can see there, I think if I had my measuring stick with me, I think we could properly see if it's 10 1/4 inches. I would have thought so, because if it wasn't, the train would fall off. But it's a nice little station. I always say if I make me millions, I'll have a house with a garden railway, and I think I'd probably have this sort of size railway. There was a house in Coniston in Cumbria, Lake District, up the back as you walk up to Coniston Old Man, and a big old house, and I think he was a colonel, and he had a garden railway, and I think it was this size, or unless it was 12 inch, it might have been a bit bigger actually, but yeah, so this is the Happy Mount Express. And what you can see there, there's some flagstones, and it sort of resembles what would have looked like, sort of when you had the eroding with the little cars. But it might have been even on that curb, see where the shed is, it might have been on there, where it run round. But I would have thought it would have been where you'd stood on that, where you're standing now on those flagstones. So we've walked in, next door is the splash park, and this is the, what used to be the tennis courts. So now it's a what do you call it? Those big basketball, you know, big basketball next door. And in this area has got no nets in it, so it's I think it's hockey, or they could put a net across, and it could be tennis again, or football. So a very sort of area you can do a lot of things with. And it was an area when they had the Illuminations, they had a big tent in here for the Illuminations. Maybe you had where you could walk in and there was bits of scenes going on. And then in '97, the year I was born, so you can all work out how old I am, a businessman, a local businessman, took it over and put a Jurassic Park sort of theme in it, but it was a bit of a flop. And the Jurassic Park's quite collectible now. If you got Jurassic Park like DVDs or model dinosaurs, I was watching a guy on YouTube called George Ross Retro Reselling, and he buys these big toys from '96, '97, and they're worth loads of money. So it's quite, probably now, if they're doing it now as like a nostalgia sort of thing, it's probably worth loads of cash. So, but it was a flop, and it didn't really do well, so they put it back into tennis courts. But it would have just been a tent what they put up, I think. Good water, that, good stuff. But anyway, just behind us where now you can pay for your attractions. You know, sessions in the splash zone there tells you when it's open and what the rings you have to put on the arms, so when you go and pay. You didn't have to pay when it was a paddling pool, I don't think. And then you come in and pay your dosh, and you pay your money. You don't pay for Crazy Golf, that's up there. You pay for pitch and putt, used to pay here for that green there, and probably pay for bowls in there as well. And behind you, just talking of pitch and putt again, and just reminding myself, on this grass, I think they had the BBC Radio 1 Roadshow. Turn up on a couple of Range Rovers and Transits with a set out stage, like a bit like an outside circus. And I think there's a picture, I've seen it on Facebook, I've got loads of crowds in here around the stage. So that's a bit of showbiz. Anyway, but we'll get back on that track here. In this area here is where the cafe is, in the play zone. At the moment they've got a bit of they've got like a galloper or carousel, that kind of thing now, and it's all been winter. They've put fences up so hooligans don't get in it. You can't leave anything these days without people trying to smash it up. And over here to your right, £1.30, you can go up trampolines. You're going to have a good jump in there. Get rid of all that energy. You know, all these current times we live in, this should be open, we should be on there, but I don't think you could have them that close, but you know, we won't go into that. So anyway, you got a trampoline, and over there you can see the pirate ship of the Crazy Golf Course. But here, around the edge here, there was another building. I've seen pictures of it. There was an old building here, building at back, and then building. It's sort of like, it's like a big stable yard, really, with buildings around it. And I was told by a family member over there, the golf bit, I did mention it early on, but they had shops along that bit where a guy sold stuff. But at the end now, it's just where you pay for Crazy Golf. So we'll go up here, and behind me is the calf. You can see there, I think it used to be a wooden calf, so I believe. Maybe they had it somewhere else, but I think it was wooden originally. I've never had a very good meal in there. It's always been a bit, something. I think the last experience in there wasn't that great, to be honest, but we're going back about 5 years now. But next door they have a play area with softball pit and slides, all exciting stuff. And up there they have a few sheds of stuff, and up there they have pay and display. You know, you can go and spend a penny there, but you spend more like 30p. But there's always nice folk around to leave them open. So there you go, if you ever want a wee in Morecambe, come here. So we'll come up here anyway. And Calf is here, you can see in there. What are they doing there? The swing boats, look, they're refurbishing the swing boats. So I don't want to set alarm off from my torch, but in there, you see all the swing boats are getting painted up, ready for summer. So that's good, isn't it? they're obviously getting on with something. So they'll be all nice and shiny in 2021. But we'll come up here, come with me. It's sort of all just a big patio here now, and you see the old lamps where they put Illuminations. And in here, I think, actually, thinking of Illuminations, I think in the windows along here, they had Goldilocks and the Three Bears in one of these, and you could look in, and there was a little doll, and it was moving like that, and the bears were moving, and one was too hot, one was too cold, and one was just right. So that's the calf, and over here, they've all got barriers up at the moment for queuing. But over here is the new Crazy Golf, and I've had a few games a couple of years ago in here with my dad. It's a good course. I think I got a hole in one on it. I think I did very well. It used to be another Crazy Golf originally. What had fake turf on it. It had it was concreted, and it had where the shit was. It had like a big slope. What you got your ball over, and you went over a thing, and there's a few holes to go in. But they've done a good job now, and done quite a nice one. And you pay over there. So that's quite in. Some I've been in, and we've been queuing up to get in. So that does really well. So it still is a good park to come to. It's very busy, but it's not as busy, if you get what I mean. It could be busier, I think, if we pull together. But yeah, so that's the Crazy Golf Course. And I think we're slowly coming to the end there. It's going dark. I think we're getting an Elton John again, and the sun's going down, and we can't really film much more, but we'll still go with it and see what we can get done. Tell you what, I quite fancy doing the YouTube series where we go around UK and do all the crazy golf courses, because there's a few good ones around the outskirts of New Brighton. A really big one, and there's one Crazy Golf that has all the famous holes around the world, and then the other one has a really sort of Crazy Golf with all the landmarks around the Merseyside and the Wirral, all the famous landmarks. Really good. That'd be a good YouTube series, was that? Thomas Edward puts all the holes. I don't know, something daft like that. Something showbiz. So yeah, anyway, we're going to sidetrack. We'll get back to Happy Mount Park. So I think it's 10 to 4. I think the man's going to shut the gate on us any soon. But so I think we'll finish it there. I'll put a few pictures in at the end so you can see. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have memories of Happy Park, let us know in the comments, and tell us things I've missed or what have I got wrong, because I've probably got a few things wrong. Always a man there, we'll best go in a minute. So remember to give us a subscribe, give us a like, give us a comment, like I say, and remember to click that big bell. Ding! Hiya. Beauty surrounds health, our bounds.